Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today we're just going to do a little bit of a chit chat, get ready with me for this look right here. Just a pretty sparkly eye. Honestly, I'm not sure if I've done this look yet or not. I feel like I haven't, but maybe I have. I'm getting to the point where I feel like I'm running out of ideas for this palette, and so if anyone has any ideas or suggestions, I will put like a picture of the palette up, point out a couple of colors, tell me the row and which color it is, and if you give me like an idea in the comments for another look to complete for like these next 5 looks, I will definitely give you like a channel shout out and give you some recognition for giving me an idea on these looks, because I feel like I need some help for like this last week. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started on today's look. So today I thought we could just kind of chat, do some more life updates. I'm gonna take out my nose ring. Excuse me. Take off my wedding rings. Anybody else take off their wedding rings when they do makeup? Like, I just feel like I'm gonna get like powder or foundation on them, and I don't know, I just always take them off. So priming my eyes using the Lorac Pro eyelid primer. So today my husband's car caught on fire. Not kidding. Sounds more dramatic than it actually was. Granted, I wasn't outside when it happened, so I mean, I'm sure it's pretty scary for him. And then he came inside and told me. But he had left for work, and then he said, he sent me a text, said, hey, I'm going to come back home and check the oil in my car really quickly. Because his car had been sitting at work, which is like 45 minutes from our house, because he had a work van for the last like 2 weeks maybe. Like, I didn't think his car would start, to be honest, because it's been sitting in a parking lot for like 2 weeks. I'm gonna have a little sip. Brandy first thing. I'm just kidding. It's sweet tea. I always hear that. Bubbles coming up my throat. So I'm gonna set my eyes using that white shadow right there. So he came back home to check his car, and when he sent me the text and said, hey, I'm going to come back home and check my car oil, because when he went to go pick the car up, I said, you better check your oil because it hasn't been, and his car is older, so it's one of those where you kind of have to be like more tedious, because like, he doesn't really have an oil leak or anything, but the car is over 200,000 miles, which I had a different Pontiac. Well, we had his and hers Pontiac Grand Prix for a while, and mine went well over 200,000 miles. It was running great. I'm not really sure what went wrong with it, but we sold it to my cousin. He fixed it up, drove it for a while, and last I heard, he recently sold it to some other chick, and it's still driving. So I mean, Pontiacs they do good. Like, I would recommend one. If you have to get a used car, I would recommend a Pontiac. So his is secondhand. It's now over 200,000 miles, and it's, you just got to be more careful with it. Older car, you got to baby it a little bit more. Just trying to get all we can out of it, because we're not really in the place to be buying a new car right now. So I'm going to take another fluffy brush as soon as I find one. Fluffy brush. And honestly, I'm not even sure. I may have done this look already. We have like 5 looks left to go, and I'm running out of ideas. So I may have already done this one, but we're going to take this little pinky guy right here and pop that all in the crease. So anyway, he brings it home, and that's what it was. It was that he sent a text saying, I'm going to come back home and check the oil. I responded to him. I've got like a black smudge or something right there. I responded to him and said, you better make sure your car sets for at least 20 minutes before checking the oil. I'm not entirely sure the reasons behind it, but that's what my dad always told me. Because when I first got my first car and so on and so forth, like my first 3 or 4 car, what car am I on now? Had blue neon, green neon, blue Pontiac Grand Am, white Grand Prix. So I'm on car number 5. So like my first 4 cars were older cars. And my dad was always telling me, like, you gotta keep an eye on your oil because they're older cars. And wait to check your oil if you've been driving the car. Like, let the car set before you check the oil. Also, you might be hearing Levi in the other room, in his bedroom, which is right next door here. his jumper that I normally put him in, he's pretty much outgrown it. Like, he still makes it work. We still let him get in it because he still loves it. But we really need to find like a safe place in the house to be able to put him when we can't be with him. So we're trying out just putting him in his bedroom, and I've got the baby gate up. So he's got his TV on. He's got toys. It sounds like he's having a great time. If I know him, he's probably launching all of the toys over the baby gate, because when the baby gate is blocking off the kitchen, he likes to find every shoe in the house and throw it into the kitchen. So I don't know why. I think I'm going to go ahead and take the shadow all over the lid as well. But my dad always said, you know, let your car set for 20 minutes before checking your oil. And so, or at least 20 minutes minimum. And I told my husband that. Like, that's what I sent back in a text. Was like, let it sit for at least 20 minutes. Apparently he didn't read my text, because he got right home, he checked his oil, and he went and put oil directly into the car, and it caught fire. And again, I wasn't out there to see, so like, I don't know exactly how bad it was, how much it was. He said that he had a hard time getting it put out, but he said he was able to blow it out, so I'm guessing it wasn't that massive of a fire. But the oil he was putting into the car, like, caught on fire. So now we're a little bit worried, like, did that cause any damage to the car? Like, we don't know. If you can't tell, my husband's not like a car guy. He's a computer guy. Like, if you need anything fixed with a computer, like, he is your man. But when it comes to cars, not so much. So we're going to take second row lash shade, that shimmery burgundy right down there. We're just going to pop that on the lids. We're going to go for like a more simple look today. Speaking of, happy Thanksgiving. Today, for me, it's not Thanksgiving. It's today is Tuesday. But I wanted to have a get ready with me for you guys, because I know a lot of you may have a little bit of downtime before Thanksgiving dinner, or maybe you're going to be cooking Thanksgiving dinner, so you might want like a get ready with me or something to watch or listen to in the background while you're cooking or getting ready your own self. Plus, I think this look would be really cute and really easy for Thanksgiving dinner if, you know, you just need something quick to put on. So definitely an easy look to do today. But yeah, that was our morning. Husband's car caught on fire. He was able to start it back up, and there was no further problems. So hopefully there's no other issues with his car. Because like I said, we're not really in the place right now to be buying another car. And we kind of need his to last. Where did my blending brush go? Gonna clean up around the edges a little bit. So the reason that he went and traded out his work car for his actual car is because he got a new job. I think I may have mentioned this in one of my vlogs back when I was doing regular vlogs, regular vlogging, is that he wanted to find another job by the end of the year. And he did. This job is, I don't want to say it's a startup company, because it's not. It's been around for a while, but it's really growing really quickly. I guess they're like based out of Chicago, but then they have their second main area is in Indianapolis, and then they have an area over in Ohio, or maybe they have a main part in Ohio. I'm not really sure, but I think my husband said something like they've had 15 or 18 new businesses or buildings or something like that put into the corporation. I don't want to like super say like where my husband's working, you know, for safety reasons, and like what company he's doing, so I don't want to like get super in depth with that. But it's still along the lines of what he's doing now, which I've mentioned, which is working with a type of a doctor in doctor's offices. So that's kind of what we're getting with right here. Like, they've expanded and they've taken in more doctor's offices, more or less, into their company. Kind of like, you know, you have like a standalone facility and then like they want to go under, so they sold them to this place. Am I making any kind of a sense at all? So we're going to move on to face. I'm going to prime my face. I'm going to prime it using the NYX Born to Glow Illuminating Primer. So yeah, he got his new job. He put in his 2 weeks notice at his current job last night. And it's kind of interesting because him and another employee are quitting at like the same time, which the other guy who's quitting has been at this place just as long as my husband has. They both hired in at the same time, and they're both like the most experienced people on the IT department. And between the two of them, like, they know pretty much everything. And then they have like a handful of other people in the IT department who should know everything as well, but they've been lazy and like haven't got off their butts to like go do these other things at these other offices. And their boss like never made them. And so my husband and his coworker, who were pretty much doing everything, because they have this, I guess with help desk, they have like these tickets that come in, and people need help, and so like they like what do you call it? It's what, I don't want to say hacking. It's when they can go into somebody's computer through their own computer and fix the problem, that kind of a thing. So these other people do a lot of that, and then they have like actual computers need to get swapped out with, like, you know, when they get older or broken or whatever, or they need to get repaired, or I don't know, just different issues where like you have to go to certain offices to take care of things. There's also some software issues that like these other IT people like never learned how to take care of. And my husband and this other guy are the only ones who know how to do it. And the biggest reason why they quit was like they weren't being treated fairly. Like all of the hard projects were being shoved onto them. And there was like 4 other people in the IT department who just sat around doing help desk tickets all day. And even still, like, they didn't really get all the help desk tickets done. It was recent, like, his boss made a thing to where it was, like, certain days they were assigned to do help desk and other days they were supposed to get out of the office. But the other people were like, we're still not getting out of the office. Like, it sounds like his boss just wasn't very good at being a boss and didn't, like, make his employees go do things. He was just kind of happy to let Mike and his coworker do everything and let the other people just kind of sit at the office. It's kind of how it sounds. Granted, one of the people was in Ohio because they had, like, Ohio offices. So I guess that left, like, 3 of them in the Wabash office. Regardless, it shouldn't have been like that. They all should have, you know, had equal things to be doing. But isn't that how it works in most places? Like, you get someone who does, like, all the labor and other people are just lazy about it. Like, when I used to hand out food samples at Sam's Club, which I loved that job. I've thought so many different times about going back to work there. Me and one of my coworkers always did the dishes. And how it was supposed to be was, like, pretty much like you, if I remember right, like, you do your own dishes and get out of the way and other people are supposed to do theirs. Or, like, if you're doing dishes, someone could come in and say, hey, do you mind doing my dishes while I clean off your sampling cart? You know, something like that. These people would come in, dump their dishes off on us, and then leave. And they would be outside just like sitting, chilling, doing whatever. Like, they wouldn't be working. They'd have cleaned off their own carpet. They wouldn't touch ours. And if we didn't step up and do the dishes like they weren't getting done and everybody was staying over late, it was a giant pain in the ass. So that eventually did get taken care of by our boss. She's finally stepped in and seen what was going on and like made people, you know, start taking care of their responsibilities. But like Mike's boss, like, never stepped up and said, hey, you know, these people are carrying the workload. Nobody else is helping. Nobody else is doing what they're supposed to be doing. You know, start working or get out. You know, none of that ever happened. Anybody's curious, I'm using the Avon True Color foundation. I have a whole review on this. I can leave it down below if you're interested. So that was going on, and Mike decided he just wanted to get a new job. He just wanted to get out of there. So he put in his 2-week notice. His coworker put in his 2-week notice last week. They're both leaving, and apparently when Mike's coworker put in the 2-week notice, like, the boss didn't really say anything. But now that Mike's put in his 2-week notice, the boss was like, oh, well, you know, let's talk about this again on Wednesday. I'd love for you to, you know, rethink about it and don't tell anybody else that you're quitting just yet. And then he suddenly, like, calls Matt, which is my husband's coworker, and is like, we need to stop and talk about why you're quitting and blah, blah, blah. When, like, a week ago he put in his notice and was like, peace out, see you, don't care. Now suddenly he's losing both of his guys who do everything, and suddenly it's a let me see what I can do to save your job kind of a thing. Which makes Mike a little bit leery, and I can't blame him because, like, he's been asking, he's never gotten a raise. He's been there 2 years, never got a raise. And the answer to the boss's answer to that was, it's not in the budget. But the boss got raises. We're talking boss, we're not saying, he's not like the head person in this company, right? Like, he's just the head of the IT department. But the boss got raises. Other people got raises in other departments. It was just like Mike and Matt in the IT department. Mike got like a 12-cent raise. And for like what he's doing, like, that's pretty much an insult. and especially when everyone else is getting like higher raises. So I don't know, there's just like a lot of crap that's gone on at this place. He's had issues with one of the managers there. His manager pretty much sucks. I'm using the Maybelline Age Rewind concealer. I didn't tell you guys that. So his boss asked him last night if they could meet during lunch at one of the restaurants here in town and talk about, you know, saving Mike's job. But I need to set my makeup. I've completely used up, where is it? That that little shade right here that I like to use for setting my under eyes. I've completely used it up. So I've moved into the NYX Highlight and Contour palettes. That's what this looks like. And I'm using this yellowy shade right here to set my under eyes. So anyways, his boss wants to meet him for lunch to talk about like saving his job. But the thing that makes Mike nervous is that he's afraid that honestly the company's coming to a place where they're probably just gonna like fire everybody in the IT department and start over. And he said he doesn't want to stick around for that. And that it's also, he thinks, you know, it's complete BS, and I have to agree, that you wait to start treating your employees right when they threaten to quit. Like, that's just stupid, especially like if they're asking for things like, hey, I haven't had a raise in 2 years, or, you know, you have me driving a lot, can I have a company car? Which he did end up getting a company car, but it was never one of those things where they're like, here, have a company car, where it should have been. It was one of those, he just kind of took it and never took it back, because like he should have gotten one and he never got one, and so he just finally kind of took one, and no one ever said anything, but it was never given to him the way it was supposed to have been given to him. And there's just been a lot of issues with that place. So he's worried that like if he decides to let them save his job or whatever and stay, that they're just going to turn around and fire everybody in the IT department anyways and just start over, or that they'll give him, you know, whatever he's asking for right now, and then hire somebody else in with his qualifications and then fire him because he's already threatened to quit. So, and this new place is like, it's a family owned. They seem to be really lenient with like, if you have anything going on with like your kids or whatever, which is nice. I don't know, it sounds like a good place. They even offered him more money when he told them that their insurance policy was a little more expensive than our current one. I think it's like $20 more and something like that. And they offered him, oh no, what it was is that he was going to be taking like a 75-cent pay cut, and so they offered him an extra 25 cents. So he's still going to be taking like a 50-cent pay cut, which comes out to like $20 a week, shy of what he's already making. But he feels like at this place he's going to have room to grow and get promotions and get raises and move up in the company, whereas where he's at currently, it's not happening. It's not there. It's not happening. Anytime they need to hire in a new person, they seem to hire in like their friends who like don't have any real qualifications. Like the biggest reason he didn't get his pay raise this last go around this year was because their IT intern, which happens to be the nephew of one of like the main bosses, bigwigs in the company, they decided to give him a permanent position. So Mike lost his pay raise so that they could hire in this IT intern, and this IT intern gets to work from home every day and doesn't have to come in or really do anything. He's supposed to do the help desk, and I guess he doesn't really do what he's supposed to do. So we're a little nervous because obviously like quitting one job and going to a new one's always nerve-wracking, especially being holiday season. Like he's going to be starting, I think, like the third week of December or something like that. So it's going to be really close to Christmas. Thankfully, we pretty much got all of our holiday shopping done already. So we only have like a few more gifts we need to buy. So thankfully that's taken care of. And then he's going to get like a decent amount back from like saved up vacation pay. So we're going to put that back for in case of emergencies, because we don't know, you know, how long it's going to take him to get a paycheck from his new place. I'm using the there's like some broken bits in here, but it's the Wet n Wild contour palette. But like we don't know how long it's going to be between paychecks, pretty much. So we're gonna have this holiday, not holiday pay. It's a vacation pay that he saved up. So we're gonna put that back. So hopefully we should be okay with everything. It's just a little nerve-wracking getting a new job. I think he's finally figured out that he's locked in his bedroom. I don't know if you can hear him squealing in there. Yesterday I had something really creepy happen. So yesterday afternoon, I went outside to get our trash can, which was down at the curb because Monday is trash pickup. And I had gotten it up into the yard, and some random guy that I don't know, I've never seen before in my life, stops and said, "Do you have that little puppy dog, that little female puppy dog?" Which Molly was in the doorway. Like, I had the door open, the screen door was shut though, and she was like at the glass of the screen door and he could see her there. And I was like, yeah, she's right there. And she starts barking, whatever. And at this time, like, I've got the trash can up by the house and I'm like trying to put it in its spot. And the guy says, "Is your husband inside?" Or he says, "Is your boyfriend in there?" And I just kind of looked at him and I was like, yeah. And he goes, "Darn, you should have me instead of him." It was so weird and so creepy. And when he said that, like, I just walked up the porch and went inside the house because it was like freaking creeper. And I shut and locked the door. Like, it was creepy. Like, who says that? Who does that? Like, first off, I've never seen this guy before in my life. I don't know how he knew Molly was a girl. And I don't know how he knew I had a man, pretty much. Like, he said my boyfriend, but my husband. Maybe he was just trying to fish around and see if I was single or not. I don't know. But it was just really creepy. Like, the whole thing was just creepy. So I'm going to use some blush here. This is Pacifica in Wild Rose. Not sure if this is an eyeshadow or a blush, but I think it works as a blush. So, yeah. It was nice outside. I was going to have the door open for, like, airflow, but not after that. I shut and locked it. I'm like, we're staying in here all day long. Highlighter is Rose Gold from Pixie by Petra. I'm not sure that I like the look of highlighting this right here. I'm trying it out. I did it for the first time yesterday, second time doing it today. I don't know that that's for me. I see Carly Bible do it, and it always looks pretty on her, but I'm not sure that I like that look on myself. So I just tightlined using the Patty DeBroff eyeliner, and I'm going to do my waterline using the NYX Wonder Pencil. So I'm going to do my brows using the e.l.f. Brow Kit. This so far has been like my favorite way to do brows. I've been using this kit for a few years. As you can see, I've hit pan already. I think I've had this kit for about 3 years now. And I feel like it has finally gone bad. Like, the wax in it, I think the powder is okay, but the wax in it just isn't as soft as it used to be. It seems to be a lot harder. I think I need to get a new one. I've tried, like, eyebrow pencils, and I just don't like them as well as I like this. Granted, I haven't tried like any of like the high-end eyebrow pencils, but the ones I have tried, they've been okay, but I haven't loved them. And in fact, I don't even remember what they were called. I want to pop a little something here underneath of the under eyes. So I'm kind of back and forth. Like, do we want to go back in with that burgundy, or do we want to try something different? Let's go ahead and just go with that same burgundy we've been using. We'll just pop a little bit of that right underneath of the under eyes. I also think that I want to take a little bit of, I'm back and forth, like, do we want to go with like this lighter brown or the darker brown? But I want to smoke out the outer corner, I think. I have like a hair in my mouth. So let me know in the comments below, have you guys decorated for Christmas yet? I've got the Christmas village up, and I think this weekend I want to put up the Christmas tree. My son's playing with the baby gate, can you hear that? So I think we're just going to take that darker brown right up here. We're just going to smoke out the outer corner a little bit. Just a little touch. Yeah, I think I like that. It just gives a little something extra there. So to highlight today, where'd that brush go? we're going to see how this turns out. This might be good, this might be bad. I think we'll just start with the inner corner and go from there. But this little pink shimmery shade, I'm going to pop that in the inner corner. That might be too pigmented to be a highlight, really. Maybe not. I don't think I want to use it on the brow bone, though. Just here in the inner corners. I think we're going to leave the brow bone alone. I don't think I want to add a highlight to it. I think it's okay the way it is. So I'm going to pop on a little bit of my mascara. It's the Essence Volume Style Mascara. Oh, so something else that's kind of been going on, kinda. Oh, I don't know, like, is this something I want to talk about right now? I don't know, but I feel like I brought it up, so like I might as well, right? So, I have been thinking very heavily about wanting to start foster care, being a foster parent. I don't exactly know how my husband feels about it. He said he's open to adoption. I'm back and forth. Like, I know that I want to do it. I'm back and forth on when I want to do it. Mostly just because of our son. Like, I want to make sure that we have a stable environment for him. And I don't know if bringing other kids in and out of the house with him being so young, if that's a good thing or not, because he's not going to understand what's going on. And if he gets attached to them and then they're gone, like, I don't know if that would be bad for him. So, I mean, if anybody out there has experience with foster care, like, definitely let me know in the comments. And please don't be, like, mean and bashing about it. Like, I know there are bad experiences. I'm not saying, like, don't leave your experience. Just, you know, don't tell me, like, that I'm going to be a bad person for doing foster or whatever. Like, I've heard people who want to automatically say bad things about people who are foster parents. And I know, like, there are bad foster parents out there who just do it for the money. I get that. But, like, there is a need for foster parents. And, like, I think maybe that's how we can grow our family. I feel like maybe that'd be a good way to go about it. I just don't know when we should look further into doing it in regards to our son. I think ultimately, like, what I really, really, really want, to be completely honest, is, like, I just want to adopt, like, and I've heard that if you foster, like, that's a good way to be able to adopt. I don't know. Like, and as far as, like, Levi getting attached and, like, him getting hurt, like, I also worry about that with, like, my husband and I. And, like, can we handle having kids coming and going and knowing, like, that they might not be going back to the best situation. I don't know. There's, like, just a lot to take into consideration when it comes to that stuff. But it's something that I've been thinking about heavily. I've mentioned it to my husband quite a bit. He hasn't said a whole lot about it other than, like, he's open to adoption. I don't know. But I think that we would definitely want to wait until Levi is probably a little bit older, just so maybe he has a better understanding of what's going on. I don't know. If you out there grew up with foster siblings, like, say, like, you were the biological child and you grew up with foster siblings, like, let me know how that was for you. Like, did you like it? Did you understand it? Was it hard on you when, like, other kids would come and go? I'd love to hear other people's thoughts on that stuff. Because I feel like, you know, if we were, like, an older couple and Levi was grown in and out of the house, like, it would be no issue, right? Like, our kid would be grown out of the house and, like, we could take on other kids and, you know, they could be here for a couple months, they could, whatever, and it wouldn't be, like, we would get attached, but it's not like we'd have to worry about our child getting attached, you know? And at least, like, if Levi did get attached, like, he, you know, he'd be a grown-up, and, like, he would understand, and one of those things. Whereas right now, like, I'm still dreading the time when he finally starts getting upset when Mike leaves for work, and I feel like it's coming. Like, any day that he wakes up and Mike is still here, he's just all excited. He's like, da, 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 da. And then, Mike goes for work and he's still like da 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 for like probably like the next 5 or 10 minutes, but he's not getting upset yet. And I just waiting for the time when he finally realizes Daddy has to leave for work and like he's gonna get upset about it. Like, it might never happen. Like, he might just understand like this is how it is. This is just our routine, and like maybe it'll never be an issue. But then again, like, I'm just waiting for it to be an issue, I guess. I don't know. But I think, and this is probably awful to say, I feel like if I could do foster with knowing that the child that we took in would more than likely be ours and we could adopt them, like, I would be more gung-ho about, like, let's do it right now, if I knew it was going to be like a permanent situation. But I just don't know. There's also so much about like the foster system like that I don't know about. It's like when you start fostering, when you take in a kid, like, do you have an idea of the time that they're going to be with you? Do they give you like a rundown of like, oh, this is probably going to be like a permanent situation, or like, hey, this is probably going to be temporary? Like, do they let you know that stuff? I don't know. And like, I know, like, I've looked online for like the kids who are currently available for adoption, but in my state, the ones who are listed are like minimum are like, I think we're like 7 or 8 or 9 and up. And I wouldn't be against adopting an older child if Levi was older. But with Levi still being so little, I would prefer them to be closer in age. I don't know. I don't know. There's just so much that I don't know. That's what it comes down to. There's so much I don't know. And of course, with Mike's job situation right now, like, obviously we wouldn't be in a place to even look into considering adoption for a while. Until his job is settled, probably something you want to wait and make sure that, job's permanent and not going anywhere. I use the Wet n Wild setting spray. I don't know, do I want to wear lipstick today? I feel like I probably should. Just using an e.l.f. lip liner. This one is in Bark. I always fill in my lips with a lip liner because I feel like it makes my lipstick stay longer. Anybody else do that? So I'm sure there's someone out there who's like, why don't you just biologically have another child of your own? And we could do that. And I'm not completely against it. Like, I'm back and forth between, like, do we want 2 kids or do we want 3 kids? And sometimes I think, 2 biological, 1 adopted. And other times I think, 1 biological, 1 adopted. Like, I've always felt like I want to adopt. Like, that's something that has been on my heart to do since I was a kid myself. Like, I've always just wanted to adopt. And I've got friends who are adopted, and they were in foster care and then they got adopted, and they they all have good families, good experiences with it, and they're happy and they love their adoptive parents. But it's just something that's always kind of been on my heart that I want to do. When I was younger, like, I swore up and down that I would never biologically have my own kid and I would only adopt. And I held on to that well up until I met my husband. And then after I got with him, I was like, I want to have a biological baby with this man. I want to do that with him. And we've done that, but I still want to adopt. It's still something that I've just always wanted to do. I'm glad that he's open to it. It's just a matter of, like, when do we want to look into it more? And also, like, the finances. Like, I feel like we're one of those families that, like, yes, we could afford to, easily, not easily, but we could afford to have a second child. It'd be tight, but that's life. Like, money's always tight, But the expenses of adoption, it's like, can we afford that? That's a big hang up. And I feel like that's just one of those, and again, like, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe I'm just, I don't know, I'm going off of things that, like, you hear about. And I feel like adopting, or, like, I've heard that adopting through foster is a lot more affordable and maybe you don't have to pay anything for it. And I hate that it has to come down to being a financial thing. I mean, the same reason for why we haven't, tried to have another baby of our own is finances. Like, we still owe, like, $4,500 from having our son at the hospital. And having another baby is going to be like that on top of it. and if we try to adopt like an adoption agency or something like that, like it's gonna be, you know, they're 10 plus grand on top of it, and it's just like, it's so expensive just to start a family, you know, just if you go the medical route or if you go adoption, like you're looking at a good 10 grand just to have a kid. And it's just insane to me. And especially when it comes to adoption, because like these are children that need homes. Like you shouldn't be robbing people, you know, like we could comfortably afford to have another child. We have a spare bedroom that we could easily turn into their bedroom, and like we could do that. We could feed them, we could clothe them, we could put them in school, we could do all of that stuff. But like the initial like 10 grand or whatever, however much it costs to like adopt, it's like, and again, like I don't know this stuff like for a fact, it's just things like I've heard, but if what I've heard is true, it's like, oh my lord, like how do people adopt multiple children? I don't know. And again, like I think that adopting older children out of foster care is probably easier and more affordable. I could be completely wrong, but like I hate to say it like this, but on the website they're listed almost like the way dogs are listed on like the humane website, where it's like, here's Charlie, he's neutered and he's 5 and he's $20 or whatever, you know, like that's kind of how the kids are listed. Granted, the kids have like less information listed with them. It has like their name and their age, I think. I don't think it gives any more than that, but still, it's kind of like that, but like what, how else are they supposed to list it, you know, like they're gonna have similarities, I guess. I don't know. It's just something that I've really been thinking a lot about lately, is doing foster care, looking into it, getting more information on it. But it's like, when do we take that step? When's the right time? Do we go ahead and, you know, start the classes for foster, get into the system, and then, excuse me, wait another year until Levi is a little bit older to do it? Or do we wait until Levi is older and then look into how everything works? I don't know. There's just so many I don't knows when it comes to this whole thing. So, I don't know. I guess we'll get it figured out as we go along, when we're more, I guess, ready probably to have another kid. Like I said, right now I think we want to wait until Levi's a little bit older, whether that means having another child biologically or adopting. I feel like we just want to wait until Levi's a little bit older first before we bring another kid into the mix, because he's still so little. He's quite a bit of a handful. We want him out of diapers, all of that fun stuff. So if we have another child biologically, I think we're looking for probably another year or so. And then if we adopt, I don't know, I mean probably still at least another year before we'd really look into it seriously. But yeah, if anybody has any experiences, like, feel free to leave them down below, because I'd love to hear, you know, anybody's experiences, any advice, if you've, you know, had foster children, if you've been a foster child, if you've been in a foster family, if you're a child who, you know, was the biological child and your parents fostered. Like, I would love to know more information on it. But anyways, I think that completes the look for today. What was that? Just shimmery prettiness. I like it. I think it's a good look. Hope you guys all have an awesome Thanksgiving. And yeah, I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye.